it probably needs to be more explicit in contracts that that's expected.
I 100% agree.
Intro music. Intro. Yes, intro. Bass. Intro. Tiny guitar. There he is.
Hello, and welcome to... No, not the strings, turn the strings off. Better. Now, volume down a bit. Good. Okay. Hello, actually, fuck it. Get rid of it. Welcome to The Unsociable Actor, episode 2. I'm your host, Paul Tonkin, and yes, I am an actor. I know what you're thinking. Finally, an actor has made a podcast. Yes, I hear you cry. They are so few and far between. Now, unlike the title suggests, I myself am not unsociable. Socially awkward, yes, but unsociable, no. Basically, what I am is an actor. Have I mentioned that already? Not at all. And vegan. Who is not, drumroll, on social media. Anyway, you know this already. It's episode 2. So enough of me, and let's just cut to the guest intro. Unsociable actor. So, this week's guest, who's it going to be? It could be literally anyone in the whole wide contact list on my phone. And so, with that in mind, today's guest is Hannah Drake. Hannah is a theatre director, dramaturg, and producer based in the southwest of England. Brizzle and that. She is a co-founder of award-winning site-specific theatre charity Insane Route Theatre Awards. From Macbeth in a cave to A Midsummer Night's Dream in an abandoned Victorian Lido, the company has grown from strength to strength. Hannah trained at Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, very nice, where she was awarded the Elsa Roberts Prize for directing. Well done. From the Edinburgh Fringe Festival to working with the National Theatre. Whether it be a children's show, a sketch comedy, or a serious drama, Hannah has directed them all. And of course, the highlight of her career was working with me. Yeah, right, mate. To find out more about Hannah, please visit her website, hannahdrakedirector.com. The interview. So today, I'm here with Hannah Drake, theatre director and human, I believe.
Apparently.
Good to know. So thank you for coming on.
Pleasure.
Can I ask you what you've been up to and what you really do?
What I really do.
What do you really do?
So I'm a director and a producer, sort of nervously the latter, sort of learnt it on the job. But I run a theatre charity called Insane Route, and we specialise in finding really cool, unusual heritage sites and transforming them into theatres, essentially. And we do pop-up shows, and we've been going for about 8 years now. We've just about managed to survive the pandemic, and we're in the process of preparing up to 4 for the next sort of 3 to 4 years, which feels really exciting that there is a sense of future with it. So,
where's your next venue? I mean, you've been swimming pool?
Swimming pool, we've done caves, crypts, suspension bridge. We're looking at, I can't go into too much detail because it's embargoed, but we've got one site which has just been made available, which has got some developers coming into it. So it's a very short time period that we could maybe do something there, which is really sort of iconic in Bristol and really exciting. We're looking at maybe a festive production for families, an adventure production for 2024. And then this morning I was actually on site having a little look at an old bombed out church where we might be looking at doing quite a famous Shakespeare play in it. So we're looking at, we do a mixture of Shakespeare classics and also sort of familiar tales, so Greek mythology, but also fairy tales and adventure stories, that kind of thing.
Nice. And with regards to social media, what socials have you got?
Okay, I've got Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn.
I think that counts.
And if we count WhatsApp, I've also got WhatsApp.
Yeah, I think YouTube actually counts as one. I mean, I am on there.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. Yeah, but the length to which I engage with them really massively varies across all of them.
Which one do you feel you focus on more?
in terms of actually putting stuff on there, it's really kind of reduced down. So probably Twitter.
Yeah.
But I consume a lot of YouTube and TikTok content as well.
Yeah.
I barely ever look at Instagram, but I feel like Instagram's really a safer place because of that, because I've never really spent much time there in a kind of consumer way. It's very much, when I joined, it was a sense of, I quite like having a photo album online, and I'm really restrictive as to who can even see it. So that's quite different to how I've been using the other ones.
So you say safer space, so the other ones you use, would you call them, how would you call them, and why would you call them an unsafer space?
I think because we were talking about this before you started recording, about how you put a certain version of yourself out on social media. And with Instagram, I never wanted it to really be public.
Yeah.
So I never wanted it to be a certain view of my life or be put out there to be judged. Whereas I think because Facebook and Twitter, I joined when I was at university, so I've been on them for the better part of 20 years. That's terrifying to say.
You were university young.
Well, I'm...
2? Oh,
you can stay. But it's sort of evolved as I've grown up, and you've got contacts on there that mean nothing now. We've moved on, we don't talk, but they will still have access to information that I put out there because I've forgotten that we're connected. So there's just more kind of vulnerability, I guess, to being misunderstood or to reconnecting, which is really exciting. And just, they feel like the edges of them are more blurred. Whereas because I've been able to, I guess, curate Instagram and been very specific with how I do and don't use it, it just feels like a smaller, safer place to be.
yeah.
It's a sneaky edit. 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 It's a sneaky edit to cover shit.
Yes, we're having a jolly good time. How long would you say you spend on social media? Maybe, let's say a week.
I imagine I spend more on it than I realise I do. Because especially in this industry, you have quite fallow periods at times. And I think I go on social media more when I'm unemployed or when I'm between projects. And it can kind of become a kind of compulsive thing where you don't realise you've just gone onto Twitter and you're there and then you've gone away from it. You haven't really acknowledged it because it's designed to kind of bypass that part of your brain. But I would say probably a couple of hours a day, especially taking into account video platforms, because they require you to look at it for a certain period of time. So I would say easily, if it was like a couple of hours a day, then 15 hours a week.
Yeah, I feel like that might be quite healthy. I don't know.
Do you think? I've no idea.
A couple of hours a day.
No idea.
If it's spread out like tiny little bite-sized meals. But again, were you saying you might look at it more when you're not in work? So does that mean possibly when you look at it, you're looking at it more when you're not in a good space? And maybe does that exacerbate your feelings?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And
But
I think,
it can do the opposite though. But
yes, and I think, I guess social media is so much a mirror, and when you look at it, it reflects back how you feel tenfold. So if you're in a really good space, then you see these people doing amazing things. You're like, this is brilliant. I love that everyone's having so much success, whether you are or not. And if you're not in a good headspace, it can feel like you are looking, I suppose, through the glass at people having, experiences or doing things that you don't have access to. And you you berate yourself. You go round and round and you look at more and more of it as though you're trying to find a solution or trying to find a way out, and actually the way out is just to turn off your phone.
Maybe that's it. It's designed to keep you looking. So
it really
it's not
is.
designed to make you happy or sad. It's just designed to keep you on.
Exactly.
So, it's emotionless. So I suppose we
Yeah.
put the emotion onto it.
Well, of course, this is an edit. What did you think it was, you fool?
So just to move away from emotion, work-wise, well, let's say, how long would you look on social media for work? Or if ever, have you looked at social media for work?
I have done. I think when I was starting out, it would be more relevant to look on social media because you are looking to connect with people and kind of work your way up. Whatever the language is, I guess I'm mid-career now, the jobs that I want to go for are more formal and therefore are shared on social media and can be really helpful to see that, but they're also available in other spheres. And quite rightly, I think the industry is trying to move towards a more standard procedure and making things more open and more formal and having better hiring practices.
Yeah.
So I guess I do look on social media, but I look at very specific places for them, and it's because people are sharing those other opportunities. In terms of connecting with people, I've definitely done shout-outs on particularly Twitter to connect with particular disciplines, so certain designers, sound designers, artists, illustrators, sometimes actors if I'm looking for a particular sort of geographical component, I guess. But I don't know, I find myself less inclined to find those opportunities there.
Do you ever contact people directly?
I have done,
Out
but
of
it's
the blue, people you haven't worked with before? You've maybe just gone straight for jugular?
I have done that once or twice, but there's usually some kind of context. So I know someone that they know, or I've encountered them, or I've seen something they've done, and I have them in mind for a very specific project. People have done it to me.
How has that panned out? Good, bad?
It generally doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
I think because it's not founded on something meaningful, or it's so kind of early days that there's no real substance to it. It's let's connect. Great, we've connected. Now what? And
Okay, but not bringing anything apart
Yeah.
from their face to the table.
yeah, and it's like that's great, but we get the same thing when people send us cold call emails.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that these people are out there, but if you're not looking to actually employ someone at that moment, they tend not to go very far.
It's like if you're not creating a piece, an actor's are saying, I'm here, that's wonderful,
Yeah.
but wait till we've got something for you to be here for.
But the
Possibly.
irony is sometimes they arrive at exactly the right time and we are just about to do an audition
Yeah.
announcement. And that's why I would never discourage people from doing it.
Yeah.
But, and I have to tell myself this because I'm very bad at doing my own cold call emails, but they are appreciated. They just don't necessarily ever lead to anything, at least not in the short term, unless the timing is serendipitous.
Well, this is a nice chitter-chatter.
Oh, yes.
Do go on.
But what I do in terms of social media is I find it incredibly helpful if I know an actor that I would love to audition or meet and I don't have direct access to Spotlight. If they've got their Spotlight link or like a link to a show reel or a website or something, or a way that I can then contact them in a professional manner, that's how I will use their social media.
Well, that's good. It's like a backup.
Yeah. It's like a business card.
Would you, if that was the case, then be inclined to maybe have a look at the profile and see what they've been saying? And could that sway the casting one way or the other?
It's kind of impossible not to have some kind of reaction when you see someone's content, good or bad. I like to think that it doesn't have an impact if it feels like it's kind of just they're sharing opinions and it's their voice. I think there are certain things that would put me off somebody, but I don't think I know anybody in this industry who's deeply homophobic or racist or spouts that kind of stuff on social media. It's interesting, I have seen profiles and I do follow people who share things that I disagree with, or they behave in a way on social media that I think they're either oversharing or that there's they're clearly using social media in multiple ways, including very private ways, as professional ways. And I think you just have to give them grace with that, because we all use it in different ways.
Exactly.
And I have to judge someone based on how we interact in person, what they're like when they come into an audition, what they like in the correspondence around that. And I think if you only look at social media, because as we've said, people tend to curate it in a particular way, then you're not seeing the whole of the person anyway.
It's like the difference between a self-tape and an in-person audition.
Exactly.
You're going to get so much more from sitting down talking to someone in the room and seeing them perform than you are something that's being directed, lit, mic'd, acted by someone who's not focusing 100% on either of them, because they've had to do all that.
I think something that I find really depressing is when I hear more and more about actors in particular, being asked about their follower count.
That's another thing. Have you ever heard of anyone not being getting hired because they're not as social on socials or don't have that many followers?
Not personally, and it's totally irrelevant to me when I'm hiring.
Yeah.
But I think it seems to be more in kind of commercial.
Do you think it's more in our run of the ladder, maybe like an urban myth, because we heard about it, but it hasn't affected us directly?
Possibly.
I thought, well, maybe it has, and I don't know about castings I didn't get, and it did matter. I don't know.
I can understand why it would be relevant if you are relying on your actors and contributors to also promote a production or a project through their social media. And I think there is a kind of assumption that people will do that, but I think actually it probably needs to be more explicit in contracts that that's expected.
I 100% agree. I really don't like being hijacked with social media work that I have to do for a job. It's just expected of me. It's absolutely fine to do, but can we put that into contracts? Because if I don't use social media that much, it's a stress. For people who it's second nature, that's fine.
Yeah, it is expertise. And you want someone to be able to say, look, this is what we'd like you to do. Here's how we'd like you to do it. Here's some examples, and here's how we think it will be brilliant. And if you've got any questions or you want help, we will be there with you the whole way. Yeah. Whereas I think I've been guilty of this in the past when we're sort of feeling our way through what the industry is, of it kind of being a learn on the job thing. But I think hopefully it is getting better because it's being acknowledged. Yeah. But also I question whether it's even interesting. I
don't think a lot of it isn't interesting, but it's about marketing. It's just marketing, and it's I don't think I would ever create that much interesting backstage content, but I can make loads of it if you help me and tell me what you want.
Exactly. And I think what we need to acknowledge, especially for performers, is your job is to turn up and become somebody else. It's not to be there as yourself. And actually so much of that behind the scenes stuff requires you to suddenly be yourself and yet represent the production.
But not being yourself by being someone else who is doing something that you wouldn't do normally. Yeah. So it's another layer of ask, really, isn't it?
It is. And as we said,
it's another lie as well that I have to portray in a sense. For me, for myself. It's like now I put online that I like doing selfies backstage. I don't. I just want to be there. It's in fact that's my time to switch off. Yeah. What's the longest you've ever spent agonising on a tweet or sending, posting something?
Too long.
By that time, I've missed my cue.
Well, exactly. So,
yeah. And we're in the show. Is there anyone that you know or follow online that you could say does social media well, just gets it?
Oh, that's such a good question. So it's interesting, this idea of doing social media well, and I don't think individuals really come to mind because I think we're all still trying to work out what we're doing. But something that I really like to see is there's an agency, I think, called Birdston Talent, and they do this really lovely thing where whenever they've put an actor up for an audition or someone's met someone for a job, they share their headshot and they talk about what it is. And obviously it makes them look great because you see that they're getting their clients up for roles. But also it's a real sort of positive thing because it's not about the outcome. It's not about getting the job. It's, we're having these really interesting conversations with people. So I really like that. And I think also from when I look on TikTok, I like the honesty of people. And when people just have really interesting thoughts or opinions, and I find that a lot of social media is very black and white, and actually, especially on Twitter, people aren't there for nuance, they're not there for a discussion. But I really like it when you see sort of quite long threads, especially from scientists who are like sharing really detailed information, and you think, oh, I've learned something there as well. That's been a really valuable contribution compared to, I think, where social media started, of like, look at my lunch. Like, no one cares. So I guess I really like when people are putting something positive out there. And the way that I think I approach social media more now is I probably don't post as much, but I'm more likely to try and share content that other people put out there because I think it needs, and as though I've got much power, but it needs amplifying, or it's something that, oh, here's an opportunity that I wish I'd seen when I was 8 years younger, because that's what I would have needed as a director then. So trying to kind of loosely pay it forward, I guess.
Yeah, what I was trying to do when I was on Twitter, what I like about the agency is that it takes the onus off the individual, so they don't have to post that, oh, I've been doing this, that and the other, which can be
it can feel really
perceived
cringy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look at me. And
so it's just
not what it is.
An agency doing Twitter right and giving the actor time to just go and do the audition and go home.
Yeah.
Literally, just do your job. That's it.
Yeah.
That was great. So moving on, but still talking about the same thing. Do you think you have to be on social media to be in this industry?
Yes and no.
Double-edged sword.
I think because the internet is such a big part of our lives, if you are a professional, it makes sense for you to have a web presence. If I'm going to go to a restaurant, the first thing I do is I Google them. I look them up. I want to find out, where are they and what is their menu like?
Do restaurants exist without the internet now? If you don't see them by walking past them, how do you know where they are, who they are, whether they do what you eat?
Do you know what I mean? And I think that is true of performers, directors, theatre companies. But what I think is really interesting is your website, if you have a website, is yours. If you build up loads of stuff on social media, as I think it happens more often on TikTok actually, you can lose your entire user and platform just because someone has flagged something community guideline-y, and that can happen through trolling. So I think, yes, have social media. It's a really good business card. It's a really good way to interact and make connections and get advice. Have a healthy attitude to it, but also don't put all your eggs in one basket and don't put your self-esteem in there.
Yeah.
And that's so much easier said than done. But I think the other thing that's interesting to think about is that, look at the evolution of Facebook. It's becoming irrelevant.
Yeah. It's like other people have said, it's kind of like a photo album now of past images.
Yeah, and it's like, that's who I was when I was at school or university, whereas I will still go there for certain things, but I wouldn't go there really for my personal, professional career. Yet, my company is quite present on there and we promote a lot on there. So, but that's, I think, partly to do with target audiences. So,
and also you can't, you have to have, if you wanted to be professional on Instagram, you have to have a Facebook account as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
kind of, they're both the same now.
Yeah. Though interestingly, there is an option where you can post the same thing to both of them at the same time, and I never do that.
You don't cross-pollinate.
Not personally, no. I think we might have done it with Insane Route because it's expedient, but it's not apparently a very good way to grow an audience.
And all those roads lead to the website.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which ultimately leads to, hopefully, the mailing list, which hopefully leads to somebody coming in and experiencing the show.
Yeah.
In real life.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
A very distinct route and reason for it. An insane route, but a route nonetheless.
But the other thing, because I know we talked about this before, is I will look up people, but I try not to do it too much because I don't want to get the false impression of them. So it's useful to get a sense of someone's skills, a bit like looking at their spotlight or looking at a CV. But because you were asking me earlier about does seeing someone's social media affect my opinion of them, and it is unavoidable. And there have been people that I have met, auditioned, interviewed, and then subsequently seen more and more of what they choose to put out on social media. And that subsequent experience has given me a more negative view of them and how they might or might not fit into the work that we do than before I'd met them, if that makes sense. But I try really hard, and I hope other people do, to have an open mind when you meet someone for the first time.
Get them in the room first.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that makes sense.
It is worth recognising that even the casting websites have a sense of hierarchy to them, for better or worse. And in terms of how, just being really clear on what is true and what you have and haven't done, I think is really important.
Yeah.
But generally, when I'm assessing someone's CV, I'm looking at, because we have quite a niche kind of production that we make, if you've got experience of outdoor work or site-specific work or Shakespeare or really good vocal training, you are more likely to be invited to audition for us than people who haven't had those experiences.
Yeah.
But above all of those is actually if you have a show reel or a video where I get to see you move.
There you go, yeah.
And
you're a real
speak
person.
and see your energy.
Yeah.
Those are really valuable things to have. And they don't have to be, for me anyway, I think in theatre, they don't have to be shiny, squeaky, heavily produced show reels. Just having a sense of you delivering text is what I'm looking for anyway.
Oh, don't stop now. You're nearly finished.
So, just to end, quick fire round. You ready?
Yes.
Social media, good or bad?
Good.
What's the best social networking site?
WhatsApp.
How often do you post?
Once a week?
Best way to meet people, party or online?
A party.
Yes. Right, and on that wonderful note, thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
So thank you for listening. If you made it this far, I'd just like to say one thing. Could you please subscribe? It will help with any other episodes that I make, and it shows a lot of love. And we need a lot of love in the world. Sing it. No, I didn't mean actually. No. Stop. No, I said, please, no. Shh. Thank you. Stop. Why does it sound like an intro to something? No, we're ending the podcast. No, this is the end. The end. Stop. Stop the music, just a bass. Thank you. Goodbye.